Hi, Desert Hot Springs. Scott Mattis, the mayor of Desert Hot Springs, coming to you with an update. It's been about 12, 13 days since our last update. I have Doria Wilms, our Assistant City Manager and Public Information Officer, with us today to talk a little bit about where we're at. A lot going on in the last 2 weeks, a lot of meetings, a lot of pushing by the local elected officials and mayors, and working with the county supervisor on trying to make headway with the governor on his plan to reopen the state. Last we left you was we were moving into phase 2, and it wasn't moving fast enough for a lot of us who want to get reopen businesses as quick as possible. He did finally relieve a little bit of that and made it a little more realistic, and that we could able to get there on reopening our businesses. And Dory's going to explain a lot more about that here at the end. But I wanted to reassure you that we spent a lot of time with other mayors and other elected officials really trying to put letters of strength together to show that the Coachella Valley is really a region away from the whole Riverside County and whole. And Dory will explain a lot more about that. But we're still lumped into Riverside County, and with the Western Riverside County still having quite a few cases, it brings our numbers down. And that's why it's so important that we talk about testing, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But what I wanted to touch on today was when false information is put on social media and other outlets, it hurts us as a city. You get information that you think might be true and it's not, and that's what we want to caution people. Obviously, your freedom of speech is your freedom of speech, but without having the full story or backstory, it's hard to put information out there and understand it. So what we encourage you to do is please fact check before you do put information out there, and you can do that with the City of Desert Hot Springs by calling 760-329-6411, and you'll be routed to the right department to get you the right information. That person might not be available right then, but we will get back to you with the proper information. A lot of the information you can find on RivcoPH, RIVPHCO.org, and that's the Riverside County Public Health page. Press the coronavirus tab, and there's a lot of information on there also with the daily updates. As of today, May 21st, Desert Hot Springs has 67 cases and no deaths, which is really, it's good for us, because if you look at the other cities, the cities that are working cities like ours, we're way below the mark that most of them are at. And so that's a kudos to you as constituents here in Desert Hot Springs, doing what you're supposed to do to make sure you social distance, wear your mask, and make sure that we bring those numbers down, that curve down. A lot of people are just saying, why can't you just open businesses? The city council has the power to possibly do that, but it would be a fight with the state. I know that I made comments in the last video that the governor was going in and shutting down businesses in 2 counties that decided to open. And it wasn't exactly true. The governor did not personally go in there and do that. And this is the person that's asked me to correct that. So I'm doing that today. Now, that's not talking about what's happened behind the scenes with the Office of Emergency Services and other agencies, the state public health agencies. What the governor did encourage those counties to do, with possible threats of closing down businesses and losing funding in the future. And that's what Desert Hot Springs has to be real careful. Just this year alone, we received close to $6 million in state funding, and we can't risk those future funds that we have coming by allowing businesses to open. Now, you as a business owner can take that chance, obviously, and risk your license, and we don't agree with that. We can't walk in there and physically pull your license off the wall, but the state can. There's ABC, there's multiple state agencies that can walk into your business and cause you havoc, and they have gone into other businesses around the valley and even in our city and have warned people. So we again recommend that you continue to follow state orders. As much as I understand it could be hurting you financially and mentally with your business, we encourage you to try to continue to do that as we work on the political side and try to put enough pressure to get your businesses reopened. The food programs at Desert Hot Springs are still working hard. 550 families on average are being served each week by Food Now. And to put that in perspective, on a normal week in a normal economy, it was about 300 to 350 families. So you can see that the economy is up. A lot of people are still out of work and needing help. If you do, Food Now, our senior center, St. Elizabeth's Church, Word of Life Church, and many other programs in our community are here to help as much as possible. So please reach out and utilize those. That's what they're there for. They've received some large donations recently for food, which has really helped out to make sure that you can get the proteins and things that you need. And we really appreciate those programs in our community. I meet now bi-weekly, but I was meeting weekly with the faith-based and food organizations to talk about their needs in our community and make sure that they had everything they need. And we'll continue those meetings as time goes on to make sure that people get what they need in our community. Let's see. And I want to talk a little bit about school. People have been really Facebooking me a lot and sending me a lot of messages, emails about graduation, those things. As most of you know, the Palm Springs Unified School District has its own board of directors, and they make the decisions based on the superintendent's and the principal's recommendations. I do want to say that our superintendent for Palm Springs Unified School District, Dr. Lyons, Principal Coda at the Desert Hot Springs High School, and John Girardi, our board member for Palm Springs Unified School Districts, met closely with our staff and myself to talk about the opportunities that they might have in the future for the class of 2020. I know there's some announcements coming out maybe over the weekend, and talking about the virtual graduation and the valedictorian ceremony. And the valedictorian ceremony is where we rename Cholla, the street, in honor of the valedictorian, which is next to the high school there each year. This year will most likely just be a private ceremony, but that street naming will happen. And then the principal and the superintendent hopefully will have better news on how the graduation will go in the future. So stay tuned to information coming from the school district. With that, I just want to say that the city council is working very hard. We're having sometimes upwards of over an hour, hour and a half of closed sessions every other week, and sometimes emergency meetings to talk about issues that are facing our city during this coronavirus time. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to Doria Wilms, and she's going to give some more detailed information on where the state's at and what we have to accomplish to get where we need so we can reopen our city.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Mayor Mattis. So, you know, I mentioned earlier in the week at the council meeting, we were highly optimistic that we would be coming to you with an update, hopefully to tell you that we were able to move forward further along into the phase 2 reopening. Based on some of the updated information we had gotten from the governor's office earlier this week. Unfortunately, we're just not quite there yet. So yesterday, I, along with our deputy city manager and the mayor, attended a meeting with the supervisor's office. And basically where we're sitting right now is a little bit different than where we sat last week. So the governor, while he did revise some of the benchmarks, the county as a whole is no longer meeting one of those benchmarks. And that's the benchmark that centers around the percentage of positive test results that are coming back against the number of tests that are being conducted. So in order to move further along into phase 2, the county as a whole needs to have less than 8% of the tests coming back positive. Earlier in the week, we were at 6.8% as the county, for the county as a whole. Unfortunately, new numbers came out this week, and the county as a whole is now having 11% of tests come back positive. Now, we do expect that we're going to see these types of increases as we increase testing. It is par for the course. But what we really, really need is we need to have healthy people go out and get tested. That's how we're going to drive these numbers down. And that's really the big effort that we're going to see take place over the next week or so throughout various jurisdictions, is a real push to get healthy people to go out and get tested. And you can get tested multiple times and have a negative result, and that will continue to count towards that downward trend that we're hoping to create. So testing at this point, it's free. You do not have to have symptoms. There are no pre-screening criteria that people need to go through. It's as simple as contacting the testing center, scheduling an appointment, and going in and getting tested. I'm going to say it now, but then we're also going to get it posted on social media. The information on how you can get tested here in Desert Hot Springs at the Lozano Community Center. So testing is being conducted from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. The location of that testing is at the Lozano Community Center, which is at 12800 West Arroyo Drive. And the phone number that you would need to contact to schedule your appointment is 1-888-634-11. Again, 888-634-1123. Now, I don't want you all to think that we are just, taking this and just kind of saying, okay, well, this is it. This is all we have. And so let's just everyone go out and get tested and drive the numbers down. We do need you to do that, but you also have your elected officials working strongly with the supervisor's office on a couple of other alternatives. So one of the things that we here in the Coachella Valley have said from the very beginning is the Coachella Valley as a region is very different than the county as a whole. So if you try to compare the cities in the Coachella Valley against what other cities are out there in the west end of the Riverside County, you can't compare it. It's like comparing apples to oranges. It just there's no comparison there. And so there's a big push right now to through the supervisor's office to go to the state and say, hey, look, please consider carving out the Coachella Valley and looking at us as our own separate region instead of lumping us in with the other areas in the county, because we're just so significantly different. And I stress that because every new benchmark that the governor has laid out, Coachella Valley is meeting them as a separate entity. If you were to carve us out from the county, we're meeting every single benchmark. And so that's where we're at today. We have all of the elected officials from the Coachella Valley banding together to get a letter over to the supervisor's office that will then be routed up to the governor to say, please look at us separate and aside from the county. We need to be considered to be able to open further along into phase 2. Our numbers support that. So we are going to ask healthy people to please go out there and get tested. I'm going to go myself. I know many of our elected officials are going to go out and get tested themselves so that we can continue to drive these numbers down. But rest assured that your city council and all of the other elected officials here in the Coachella Valley are really pushing hard to have our area considered separate and aside from the rest of the county so that we can move further along. We fully recognize that our businesses are hurting, and we recognize that we need to get you guys opened as soon as possible, and we're working to do everything we can to make that happen. As the mayor said, if there are any questions, please filter them through City Hall. We're happy to answer. If you're unsure of whether or not your business can open now, call us. We'll get the answer for you. If we don't know, we'll call somebody that does, but we'll get that answer to you, and we'll continue bringing these updates to you as soon as we get information.
Thank you, Doria. And just to close, a couple quick things on the testing. We have a capability at the Henry Lozano Center here in Desert Hot Springs. When you make an appointment, you can walk in there of up to 132 tests a day. And right now we're approximately doing 40 tests. So you can see how the numbers are low. We fought to get a testing site here because a lot of you said we needed one. So when we got one here, now we need to actually fill those appointments. So please, if you take some time, make the appointment, get tested. It helps bring that curve down, the numbers that we need to reach so that we can reopen our businesses. And last, I'd just like to talk about masks. There's a little bit of confusion after the city council had an order on the mask. Look, use common sense is what we're asking you to do. If you're going out to the grocery store, you're going to the bank, you're going to the pharmacy, you're going to essential businesses, wear a mask. If you're, it is a mandate order by the city of Desert Hot Springs. If you're in your neighborhood and you're taking a walk, put it in your pocket, just in case you want to talk to your neighbor as you walk by. But it's not mandated when you're outside. If you're going to go for a jog, or you're going to go for a hike in the mountains, it's not mandated that you wear a mask. So when you're in a social setting, social distance and wear your mask. That's all we're asking. Go ahead.
I just want to make one comment. Please do not use 911 to report people not wearing masks. That is not a proper use of 911. If you see somebody that is not wearing a mask that you want to report and you want to make us aware of it, that's not the route to go. We need to reserve those lines for true emergencies. If there are non-compliance issues, you can contact us at City Hall, our code enforcement department. You can make them aware of it, and we're going to go out and we'll educate folks on what our orders are. But on that same note, I will also tell you, we're not going to go out and arrest somebody if they're not wearing a mask. So you guys, please, let's use some common sense here. Yes, we wear masks to protect others. That's what the masks are there for. It's to protect others from our germs. But let's be reasonable here. No 911 to report somebody not wearing a mask, and understand we're not going to arrest somebody if they don't have a mask on. We are going to educate them on the mandates that we have in place.
And I had some pretty upset individuals saying, well, we have to wear masks all the time and it's going to cause respiratory issues with me and stuff like that. And I get that. I understand that some people do have some respiratory issues. If you add up the hours that you'd have to wear your mask, it's probably less than 1 hour a day. If you're going to essential shopping, going into social businesses, unless you work in a business that forces you to wear a mask on a regular basis, you're probably wearing it less than an hour a day. Let's use, again, as Doria said, common sense, no 911. Your city council is working hard here each and every day to try to get these businesses open and do what's best for our community. But public health is our #1 priority, and that has to be in this situation right now. We're unprecedented times, but we're gonna work through this as quick as possible. I know it doesn't seem quick enough for most people, but we're really trying our hardest to get businesses open, and we're gonna continue down that path. With that said, we'll come back with another update when we have pertinent information for you in the next week or so, and give you some more direction. With that, stay safe, stay calm. We're all in this together.